welcome in another edition of Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. And oh my God, the sun came out today and, the birds were chirping and the grass was green and the Giants won a football game. The Giants won a meaningful football game. I can't even tell you since when, because I don't look at that Colts game last year as a game I even wanted to win. So they won that game and it was painful. Yesterday was a game you wanted to win. You wanted to see the quarterback look good. And I mean, outside of the obvious and the Malik Nabers injury, it was a really, really good day to be a New York Football Giants fan. So we've got your requests, and coming soon, DRGO on Apple Podcasts. You can follow us on all our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, at DR Giants Obsession, on Twitter, DRNYGO, Spotify, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. And how about this? Remember yesterday we were kind of pleading, it was somewhat pathetic. We got to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We blew past 1,000. We're now over 1,200. And the next benchmark, guys, is 5,000. My producer, Steve, has promised live on air we can paint his face in Giants blue and red and white on the show. So 5,000 is the benchmark. Usually we'll do a little what happened this weekend, where do we look next week, and all that kind of stuff. We will get to all what the Giants did well, your comments, your questions. Like us, subscribe to us, of course, okay? You could do that very easily. We welcome that, and that way it'll give you easier entree into getting involved with, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday programs. But like us and subscribe to us, of course, on YouTube. Negatives, positives, we'll get there. The defense played excellent, I thought, yesterday. The offense, there was some good, there was some bad. How we fix this thing that's not working properly. Kind of our picks review. I know we had a little good fortunate for once, which is not the norm, and where we are in the NFC East. So let's bring him in from The Athletic. He's a big star. Dan Duggan joins us live from the Giants facility. And I know this is a weird thing to say, Dan, and thank you so much for a few minutes on a Victory Monday for Big Blue.
Yeah, I sat down on my keyboard last night. I got back up from the locker room. I was like, wait, how do you write one of these stories? It's been a while since I had to use that muscle.
So you might not even remember, because you covered the team, so you're different. Like, I love the Giants, passionate as a fan since I'm a little kid. The win against the Colts, I didn't even enjoy because I wanted to lose that game. When was the last time the Giants won a game that fans were excited and happy they won?
It had to be that Seahawks game last year, right? Yeah. And they went out to Seattle. You had no Nabers, and Darius Slayton had a big game. The time Seattle was a pretty good team. I think that was had probably a similar feel. I think going into that game yesterday, no one gave a chance. Just as when they went out to Seattle again without Nabers, you thought no chance. I think Singletary was out too. And that was kind of Tyron Tracy started to emerge that game too. So different circumstances. Obviously, when you're making a quarterback change, and instead you're coming out of this game without Nabers. But I think as far as just in terms of a meaningful game, that got them to 2-3. I think you feel like maybe come back and play at Cincinnati that next game. You feel like, they can maybe get something rolling. Little we know that'd be their last win for like 3 months at the time.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple things that we're going to unpack here with you, and certainly appreciate the time. And let's start with the negative, okay? And that, of course, is the injury to Malik Nabers. So we find out just a little bit ago it is a torn ACL. He's going to be out for, of course, the entirety of the season. I mean, how does that, irreparably crush their skill position players on this offense?
Yeah, I was listening to your intro there. You're talking about all the blue skies. Like, that's a little bit of a dark cloud. It's like even you get a win, you still can't come up feeling great because everything. I did my own. We have these live rooms on The Athletic, and I did my own. This type of post-mortem with Charlotte Carroll, my colleague, this morning. It's like anytime you start to kind of get excited about the offense and about Jackson Dart, you're like, but how's it going to look without Malik Nabers? Because obviously yesterday was not some aerial assault to begin with, but the Chargers have a great pass defense. You're kidding yourself if you thought Jackson Dart was going to go out and carve them up like they were the Cowboys or anything like that. But I think with Nabers in the lap, you felt like against different defenses and as Dart got more comfortable, you had a chance to have potentially a dynamic passing game. It's just really hard to see where that's going to come from at this point. We mentioned last year Slayton had that game against Seattle where he stepped up. But he's been here long enough. I think we kind of know who he is and his limitations. Wanda Robbins and Theo Johnson. It's hard to see any of these guys stepping up and filling the void, the massive, massive void left by Nabers. I'm sure we're going to run out Jalen Hyatt and see how that goes. I think we kind of know how that plays out. I don't know. Obviously, we're all spending our time thinking about this. I'm sure that's all they're doing in the building today is what can we do? How can we try to mitigate this? Because you have a rookie quarterback, you want to set him up for success. Having a dominant number one wide receiver was probably the main thing he had going for him. You take that away from him, less than 30 minutes into his first career start. And it takes a little to shine off that win. Like, the win was amazing, great vibes, but then you start looking ahead, like, where is the offense going to come from, over the next, 13 games still to go?
Right. And the thing is, I thought he played really, really well. Let's kind of morph into the Jackson Dart conversation. I thought he was excellent. I thought he had like a maturity and an ability that you don't really see from young kids for his first start. And this is the difference I see. And I'm not saying he's going to be great, because we have no idea. But the comparison is always Daniel Jones. Remember Daniel Jones, his first start was great down in Tampa against the Bucs, and they won the game when a missed field goal. But Daniel Jones never had like that it factor, Dan. And it feels like Jackson Dart has whatever it is. It really feels like he has it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can see why Brian Daboll is, been head over heels with this kid since the draft process, why he essentially took his career and put it in Jackson Dart's hands. This was the last card Daboll had to play, and he played it last week. And now, again, he didn't have like an amazing stat line, but just the way the spark he provided that first drive, and that was a totally different offense. That looked nothing like the Russell Wilson offense, the no huddle, everything spread out, the quarterback runs, even the quarterback draw he scored on. The Giants have been running that play forever. He had a different level of burst when he got through the line there, and obviously took it 15 yards for the touchdown. I think that he definitely has that. I mean, he's going to have to rein in the running style a little bit.
It's crazy. He's not going to make it through. Forget about the season. He's not going to make it through the first half of the season if he plays like that.
I mean, listen, let's just add in the preseason. He's probably played 100 NFL snaps. He's got a hamstring injury plus 2 concussion tests. I mean, that's not a great rate. It's going to be hard to sustain that. So you love that he plays with such fire and he's so aggressive. We don't need to be like throwing right hooks at defenders 40 yards downfield to end runs. But I think that's just part of the package. And that's part of what Daboll loves. Like, most coaches, I talked to a bunch of Darts former coaches, high school, college. They all try to rein it in. Daboll's kind of like gives lip service to reining it in, and is also like, hey, that's kind of what makes him who he is. So I think, there's going to be some stressful moments for Giants fans just watching this kid get pummeled over the next weeks, months, years. But I don't know that he's going to be able to change, but it also adds an element. The legs was the thing that I think set him apart yesterday. I mean, again, the passing numbers, pretty pedestrian, made the big throw to Theo Johnson there when he needed to, but the legs is what I think kind of added life to the offense.
Well, you remember against what was it, Dallas, it was Kansas City when they had the ball down in the red zone, and they took the grounding penalty, and the next play after the grounding penalty, Russell Wilson did a quarterback run, and it was one of the most pathetic things we've ever seen. Now he does it yesterday, and it looks very, very different. The play, and there's little plays that stand out. The one play that really stood out to me, I think it was like a 3rd and 10 at their own 2-yard line, and he drops back into his end zone, and not only does he have this just moxie and this like air of this is not an overly enormous moment for me, but he's like signaling to Darius Slayton, like, move over to the left because this is where I want you. And it felt like that's what you would see from a quarterback that's been in the league for a decade or 15 years. It did not look like a quarterback that was making his first ever NFL start.
Yeah, and I think that's the stuff that speaks to that, like, it factor you mentioned. We can never really quantify, but he just looks very calm, cool, collected. And even the play I talked about with Theo Johnson, like, clearly that play was supposed to go to Wanda Robinson on the left side. They were all over it. He calmly resets, no panic, and finds Theo Johnson. Then you kind of found out later they adjusted that route on their own because something Darts on film study said, like, sit down if we get this look in that spot rather than continue to run across. You watch the film back. If he had continued to run across, he would have gone right into the zone of a Chargers linebacker. So even the mental part of the game, he was on it. And I think the thing you mentioned, that Slayton play, that's the thing that he did multiple times that I think sets him apart. You see so many quarterbacks, even Russell Wilson and other younger quarterbacks, they're always going back in the pocket or bailing out of the pocket. He does a really good job climbing the pocket. There was time after time he did that, where he had one where he found Nabers over the middle. It might have been on the opening drive. He had the one where he hit Bellinger. I think it was like 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13. Same deal. There's pressure kind of coming, but there's still room to maneuver. And instead of escaping, he worked his way up and then obviously found the receiver over the middle. That's the type of stuff that I think that's innate. I mean, you can do all the drills in the world. Mm-hmm. When the bullets are flying, you have to kind of have the right instincts or not. And that is something. So to me, I've seen a little bit in the preseason. You think about that play through to Gunnar Olszewski when he was scrambling and found him for the big gain. I think it was the 3rd preseason game. So we've seen that over and over. And I think that's a trait that can really serve him well. And then you add in the run threat. guys in that second level are going to be kind of frozen. Like, what do I go after him? Do I stay on my man? So that's an element of his game I think that was really encouraging.
Without going gaga overboard, because like you mentioned, the passing numbers were somewhat pedestrian. I mean, he didn't get himself in trouble. He didn't make the big turnover, which for a young kid is also equally important. But what are, especially now without having Malik Nabers, what are reasonable expectations? Like, what do you think we can get to the end of the year and say, boy, you know what? That's kind of what I thought he could be. What realistically do you think it can be now?
Yeah, again, that Nabers injury really makes it hard to like have a really rosy outlook. I mean, I think the guy that you heard him compared to a little bit in the pre-draft process, and if you want to look at like maybe you want to hope he has a higher ceiling down the road, and this guy's not off to a great start in year 2, but like Bo Nix last year, like it wasn't like he came in and lit the world on fire. The beginning of his rookie season was kind of ugly. I remember that Jets game here where it looked like he couldn't even throw a forward pass, but he had the legs, he had the moxie, and then as the season progressed, he did have some bigger passing games, but again, he had a guy like Cortland Sutton where it's, again, I think you could see that happening with Dart and Nabers. Again, maybe Darius Slayton or Jalen Hyatt surprises us, but I think that's the type of season you're looking for. If it's going to be a success, it's going to be because of the legs. It's going to be because the defense is going to really have to kind of carry the load here. Like that performance you saw yesterday, you're going to need something similar to that week in and week out for this team to have a chance. Like I don't think they're going to be equipped to win shootouts with a rookie quarterback and no Nabers. So, I mean, I think it's going to be like you want him to be, I won't say along for the ride, but he has to be a complementary piece to a great defense. And then offensively, make the big time plays in the moments we're talking about where, again, all these kind of intangibles we talk about that he has, that's when they're going to show up. Because it's hard for me to see this being a dynamic passing offense with the state of their weapons right now.
Where in fairness, they probably have 2 number 2 receivers at best and a tight end that's completely unproven. So it makes sense. I don't know how you could watch the Giants and not be wildly impressed with Cam Skattebo. Like, I can't believe that he can run like that consistently. But there was the play where he just dismantled Derwin James, who's just a terrific player, and he plays like this is going to be the last time he's ever going to put on a football helmet. It's wild to see, but it's got to be really motivating for his teammates, and B, it's terrific because he runs like he has to get a certain spot every single play he touches the football. And he runs hard. He runs aggressively. It's wonderful to see.
I mean, yeah, he's basically, if Jackson Dart was a running back, that's how he would run. Right. I mean, you're able to tolerate a little more when it's a running back. That's kind of what he needs to do to be successful. And it's worked for him. I mean, I don't think he has a long injury history in college. It's hard to imagine that being sustainable too, though, because he is, for as powerful as he's a small guy, and you see him just take on some of these hits. And 25 carries yesterday, just a battering ram. But again, that is strictly, you can't say change how you run. There's no sliding if you're running back. He has to do that to be effective. And the one thing I did notice yesterday too, though, for a guy who is smaller, he does move the pile. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, the numbers weren't great. I think it was like 25 for 79. There was some red zone rushes there where he got stuffed in the backfield. But like there were plays where it's 2nd and 3 and he takes up the middle and it looks like it's kind of stopped and he gets 5 yards and you move the chains. Like there is definitely some power there. And then I think with him, it's going to be hard for him to break tackles against, the big boys in the trenches. But you get him out in the secondary against some DBs, already seen a few times now where he's lowered his shoulder and run through guys. I'm still marveling at that tackle that Chargers corner made on him when he went around the left end. It was like 2nd and goal, and it was just him in the corner. That is a tough task to take him down the open field like that. And so that was a big-time tackle. You're not going to see that a ton. That guy did a good job going low, but I think guys are going to find that you can't go high against Skattebo. So he's going to get ready to maybe hurdle some guys or something because the Chargers are well-coached defense. They were kind of chopping him down. Because if you try and go high, I think he's the guys who are going to run over people and punish people. And so it's like him and Dart's like the crash test dummies back there. They're just running into walls, and hopefully they're both standing.
When Tracy comes back, which shouldn't be too long, right? Like 2-3 weeks, something like that. Now without having Nabers, because Tracy was a wide receiver in college, and Skattebo was certainly very equipped to catch the ball out of the backfield. Is that something you can see, like having those guys on the field at the same time and maybe trying to get one of them the football out in space in the passing game?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to get creative. Like, I don't think, there's a reason why Tracy switched to running back after like 4 unsuccessful wide receivers. I don't think you're going to start using him in that role, but I know what you're saying. Like, I think we saw glimpses of it in the preseason with the screen game was pretty effective. So I think both those guys can be weapons there. And you got to get your best players on the field. So that might be, a 2-headed backfield. We saw at times with Saquon and Matt Breida in 2022 where they used those types of packages. Might be time to kind of dust those off. I think they're gonna have to get creative. Period. So I don't think it's sustainable for Cam Skattebo to have 25 carries a game. So as much as he made a good first impression, I think there still is a role for Tracy when he comes back. Like you said, hopefully it won't be too long. Shoulder injury for running back, not one you can probably rush back from. But he brings a different element, and I think they're going to need to lean heavily. It's going to be the run game. It's going to be those two, and it's going to be Dar. I think that's going to be sort of the engine of this offense now.
Dan Duggan joins us here on Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession as he's getting ready. I know you're getting ready for the Dable press conference, so when he's ready to roll, you let us know. And we'll
about 5 minutes. I think we're good.
Yeah, 5 minutes, no problem. So defensively, because that's where I thought they won the game yesterday, right? The pick from Drew Phillips, Dexter Lawrence got down at the red zone a couple times just based off what the defense was able to do. But it wasn't just like the turnovers, which were a nice, change of pace for Giants football. They got to Justin Herbert. They made him uncomfortable. Carter was 9 pressures, right? I mean, Thibodeau was terrific. Burns was sensational. How much of that is, hey, this Giants, front four is legitimately very good and getting better? And how much in your mind is, well, this is not the starting offensive line that the Chargers expected to go into this game with?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think it's a combination of the two because, like you said, the Chargers already missing Rashawn Slater, then Mekhi Becton was out at right guard, and then Joe Wallach gets hurt early in the game. So you're going pretty deep down the depth chart, not too many linemen. Not many teams have linemen at that point are going to be able to block Brian Burns and Abdul Carter off the edge. And we saw, I don't know his name, poor number 74 who came in at left tackle. I mean, Abdul Carter just absolutely abused him. But listen, that's the NFL. There's going to be bad offensive lines they face. That's why you've built this formidable front four. They should dominate games the way they did yesterday. Because you looked at that Chargers offense coming in. I mean, the offensive line was shaky, and again, they had Alt. But Herbert and those wide receivers, that was dangerous. And you felt, that was a pretty scary matchup for the Giants secondary. But, hey, even Justin Herbert can't completely pass him. He's running for his life. I mean, I think the most misleading stat from this box score is 2 sacks because he was under pressure constantly. I mean, you think how many plays that don't go down as sacks, but it's Carter hitting him right away, and he's getting rid of it and getting intentional grounding, or another third down incompletion where Carter's in his face, almost right off the snap. So I think that group has played well in the first 3 games, and it certainly hadn't been a disappointment, but they hadn't taken over a game either. And I think that's finally what they did. I mean, it's a situation where I think the Chargers might want to revisit that game plan. They barely ran the ball. When they ran it incredibly well, but they dropped back to pass a ton. A little bit of that's game script where you're down. So that you always hear about, guys can pin their ears back. I think that definitely benefited the Giants. So if they can get leads and unleash these guys, I think there's also a factor of they're still figuring out how all these pieces fit together. Like, they're all really good pieces, but is it going to be Carter rushing inside? Burns did a little bit more yesterday. They did a lot of stunts yesterday. So some of it might be game plan specific, but I think some of it is they're still kind of finding their footing, where all these guys are going to fit. Because, I mean, there is a ton of talent. I think Dexter Lawrence played his best game. I mean, you always knew he was going to be fine, but the first 3 games, you're kind of like, all right, we're still kind of waiting for him to really get into prime, all-pro, best defensive tackle in the league shape. I think we saw some of that from him yesterday. So, obviously, I think that was just a incredible performance. That's what carried the day. You figure 2 of the drives for the offense started at the 3-yard line. You got 11 points out of those. If you don't get those turnovers, which have been lacking from this defense the last 2 years, probably a different outcome. So they made the plays when they needed to make them, and then just consistently kept the Chargers offense off track.
Deonte Banks drives me insane, and he had the one play where on the 3rd and 18 where Herbert, there's no way he was going to get that, and for some reason he decided to go inside, and Herbert went outside, and he picked up the first down. But I didn't want to crush him because I think everyone knows what he is. I want to actually heap praise because as disappointing and frustrating as it is to watch Deonte Banks, Drew Phillips is a really good player. He's a terrific tackler. He can. He stays with receivers for the most part. I don't think he's the most athletic guy in the world, but he's tough as nails. And it looks like they kind of did miss on Banks. And I think even the Giants brass would admit that if you gave him truth serum. But Drew Phillips is a really good player. Do you agree with that? Am I reading the room correctly?
I think he's probably one of the more volatile players, at least this season, because he's had some ups and he's had some downs. He's always around the ball. And
always.
And had a great game yesterday, kind of a bounce-back game, because you're back to that Chiefs game. He got benched midway through that game. They put Flott into the slot and brought Banks in, and then I think Banks had a couple bad plays, so they ditched that and went back to Phillips. I mean, I would much prefer ride it out with Drew Phillips because, to your point, he's tough. He's going to tackle a lot of stuff that Deonte Banks doesn't do, so I don't know why we're accommodating getting Deonte Banks on the field. I'd rather live through Drew Phillips' ups and downs. I like Cowboys game. Cowboys game was probably good. Mike Crosby's career. He had a lot of ups and downs in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's the greatest slot cover guy, but I do think he's competitive. I think he's a great tackler. I think you saw it. He did it against Deebo Samuel in the opener. He did it again late in the first half yesterday, where like those crossing routes, he does a great job closing on those, and he's a short tackler. So I think he's more of a positive than a negative, and certainly he was yesterday. I think there's still some limitations that, again, I just think coverage-wise, you can probably get him isolated, and he's not going to lock down guys. But that's a tough position. These slot receivers are so shifty, so tough to cover. But no, he's a guy who just like in terms of how he plays, and he plays well like he did yesterday, like he's a difference maker. And then I think Banks on the other end, like I don't understand how they justify continuing to play him. You said, if you gave
that's
what I said. So you said if you gave truth to him that admit he's a bust, but like they keep putting him out there, keep trying to shoehorn him in, and it's just like it's time to pull the plug. I mean, he hurts the team more than he helps it. And you have a guy like Flock who's not great, but I think he's at least reliable. And Phillips, same deal. I think it's probably time to pull the plug on this weird rotation they have going there. But that first-round pick scholarship buys you some more time.
It sure does, and it just can't even buy Evan Neal any time. That is how badly it's been with him. Last one, I'll let you go. Sure. How much of an exhale is it around the facility today? Right, winning a game, having Dart look good. You saw the emotion with he and Brian Dable. Like, how much showing up today is just like, because we all had the next game circled as they better win in New Orleans. Otherwise, you could go a long stretch without winning a game. Well, at least they've checked that off, right? At least they do have the one win now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think you can overstate how important that result was, and Brian Dable certainly couldn't hide it, in the immediate aftermath. I mean, that reaction with Dart, I mean, that was like his emotions were running extremely high, understandably so, because it's not just about an 0-3 team getting a win. You go back to last week where it's my decision. He made sure that point was made. It's my decision to go to Dart. He pushed all his chips in the middle. To use the old fossil analogy. Dart was, again, the last card he could play. He needed this to go well. If Jackson and I went out there and looked totally overmatched and they get run out of the building 30-0, which was certainly a possibility when you entered that game, I don't know what today would be like. But it would certainly be a scorching hot seat and some tight feelings there for Brian Dable. So to use your relief, I think you could feel that. Like, again, it's 1 week, and now the reality today sets in. Oh, man, what are we going to do without Nabers? But you go down to New Orleans, a team that's 0-4, a chance to get to 2-3. Now, we won't have to talk about the gauntlet that awaits after that because, man, it's really – that's when we talk about how tough the schedule is, and a lot of people talk about the early stretch. I think it's that week 6 to, 12 where there's just – I mean, it's brutal. But if you can get to 2-3 and Jackson Dart looks pretty good, it just settles things down because I think, everything was getting pretty tight, pretty tense. So getting that win and the way it happened, I think that was huge for Dable. Huge for the team. Again, now they go down to New Orleans and lose. We're probably right back to where we're so used to being. But for a moment, for sure, sigh of relief, I think. And I think the big feeling of potential optimism is if they hit on Dart, it's going to cover for a lot of missteps by this regime.
A lot of stuff. Dan, listen, thank you so much. I know this is short notice. I really appreciate it. I'm thrilled to have you on the show. And at least you got to experience a nice victory from the Giants. And at least the storylines now, right? I mean, you have stuff to certainly get involved with, and it's not all negative. So thank you for a few minutes today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
All right, there you have it. That's Dan Duggan joining us from The Athletic. Great stuff. And again, it's a big exhale of like, oof, right? All right, we can at least calm the throttles a little bit because this was a team that you lose that game. You talk about pressure for the next game. There's pressure for the next game anyhow because the Giants are favored on the road in New Orleans, winless team. And they're only a 1.5 favorite. So it's not like you look at this and you say to yourself, all right, that's a win. But it could be a win. And now you have a win. So at least you have some semblance of hope. And you saw Carter played well, and Banks played well, and Thibodeau played well, and Dexter Lawrence played his best game. And I know that you've heard a lot of, well, the offensive line for the Chargers is not great. It is what it is. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Do you want to heal Joe Alt and get him back out there so he can play? He's hurt. He can't play. He can't go. It is what it is. Right? So I don't know what you're supposed to do. All right. So remember on Friday, before this game was played, we went through all the hurdles of what is Jackson Dart going to do. So I've pulled up Jackson Dart's stats from yesterday, and here's what I projected he was going to do heading into this game. So guys, if you could throw it on the screen of what we thought he was going to do, I had said 18 of 26 for 154. He was 13 of 20. There's the actual up there as well. 13 of 20 for 111. I remember saying 154 last week, and people being like, wait, only 154 yards. Do you understand how hard it is in your first ever start to throw the ball? He didn't throw the ball away once. There was not one throw that you looked at watching that game and said, that's an awful throw. I said 1 TD. He had 1 TD. I said 1 pick. He had 1 rushing TD. So he had counted for 2 touchdowns. I said 111 passing yards. He had 154. And I said 38 rushing yards. He had 54. And not only all those things, and I think that's pretty good, to be honest with you. Nico, when you see the numbers that I thought and the numbers that actually hit, I mean, that was, I don't want to say Nostradamus level of like predictions, but that's pretty good.
No, it was pretty good. You definitely did a good job. I think that you oversold him with 18 for 26, but 13 for 20 is still pretty
well, 13 for 20 is still 65%.
Yeah, still a good percent. You got the percentage on the mark.
Is 18 for 20? Because I'm not smart enough to do that. 18 for 26 is 65%?
Neither am I. I'm not smart
well,
enough
I
to
think
do
that goes without saying.
Yeah,
we didn't expect you to have that information. But that's, I mean, I was pretty close in what we expected. So that being said, comments, questions? I see people are flowing in here to Dave Rothenberg's Giants obsession.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a bunch of
flowing.
As
evidenced by the over 1,200 YouTube subscribers that we have now, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a massive rush of subscribers last night following our show. Great views on our show too, and comments. I'm trying to get back to a bunch of them. So thank you.
Next stop, 5,000. By the way,
I can't wait for Steve.
We're not playing this game anymore. It's like 2,000, 2,500. No, because at 5,000, we're gonna get a makeup artist in studio to paint Steve's face, and I'm told he'll have to keep it like that for 24 hours.
I like that idea.
Well, he can't do the show and then just wipe it off immediately.
It's funny because Steve just comes up with no one forces him, and he's like,
"No, this is all his own volition." He's like, "You know what I'll do? When we get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I'll shave my head." Oh, okay. And his dad apparently is on our side. Have you heard this? His dad's like, "Yeah, you really need to shave your head." Or his dad's like, "Yeah, you really need to get the face paint on you." So we welcome that kind of shenanigans on the show.
Absolutely.
What kind of questions and comments do we have?
We have a comment here from David Lupnicki. This team needs to play like 2022 team now that they don't have any elite receivers. Run ball and play defense or not. Should they try to throw the ball more? What do you think, Dave?
I don't understand exactly the phrasing of that or not, but regardless, yeah, they need to play a close-ish to the best game. Ball control offense, absolutely, I agree with that. You have Scatterboo. Singletary, don't lose sight of the fact that Singletary ran well yesterday, 7 carries for 28 yards, moved the pile. And I think, because I think Singletary is just a very average running back, but I think the advantage you have with Singletary is when the threat is there for Jackson Dart to keep the ball and not hand it off to the running back, it makes it easier for the running back because that outside guy has to, like Russell Wilson, you have no concern. He's not going to keep it. He's not going to tuck it. He's not going to run. That's not an issue. With a guy like Jackson Dart, that is an issue. So even if it's the one edge guy that doesn't crash down as much, it's one less guy involved in the play. So that works out well for the Giants. And Tyrone Tracy's going to come back soon. Couple weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So you got Scatterboo. You're going to have Tracy. You're going to have Singletary. I think Scatterboo might be good. I think the other guys are. I think Tracy's probably above average when he's, functional and healthy. I think Singletary is very average, but at least you have a couple of above average running backs to go along with a quarterback that you're very excited about. So, I mean, listen, losing Nabers it's a massive loss. It really is. And this team can rush the quarterback. So if you can somehow get leads and then pin your ears back and get after the opposition quarterback, that's a big advantage. The problem is the schedule is so daunting. Like, for every Saints and Bears and Raiders, it's like the Eagles twice, the Niners. I mean, it's the Lions, the Packers. It's a lot. It really is a lot. What else do you have?
I agree with the running backs. I mean, someone call that a dynamic backfield.
Who would call that dynamic?
Me. I would call it dynamic.
Well, you're psychotic.
Yeah.
All right. You're also the same idiot that said Josh Allen. What did you say about Josh Allen?
Generational choke
I mean, you should be slapped across the face. You should. You ever see those like
Steve wants to do it.
Those slap fights they do? Well, like the guy lines up and he pulls back and then he lines up and then he hits the person and they pass out.
Yeah,
that's what we should be allowed to do with you.
500,000 subscribers. Me and Steve will do one on air.
500,000 subscribers.
Yeah. If I'm getting knocked out, we need some
What did we
following.
say for him to shave his head? 100,000?
100,000.
So 500,000 subscribers. And all right. Can we hire a professional slap fighter to slap you?
Sure.
Oh my! If you don't, I mean, you'll have to sign waivers and stuff, but solely to get you to be slapped by a professional fighter. Have you seen those people?
I would have to take at least a week off.
Well, that's understandable.
Yeah, I would be out. I would 100% get
and we pay you nothing now, right?
Yeah.
So we would double that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we would double your salary. What other questions and comments do you have?
We have Notorious Han. I enjoyed the win, but is it just me, or does it seem like Dayball is turning to dart into Daniel Jones? Safe throws, and he's literally running him to the ground. Won't last the full season. I agree with this
not
comment.
like that. It won't. I don't think it's turning him into Daniel Jones, but he won't last like that. You can't play football like that. It's not like he's. I mean, is there an enormous quarterback that takes punishment? You say, well, he's so big. Like if Bo Jackson were to play quarterback, you'd look at that and say, okay, I can understand it. He's not that big. He's not. I'm not saying he's a small guy, but you can't take punishment like that. These are animals that you're going up against. That being said, is he turning him into Daniel Jones? What do you want in his first game? You led throughout. Did you want to just start heaving the ball up? You know what else I really loved? And you will never think about this because the play was so catastrophic. The play that Dart got threw the ball long to Nabers and he tore his ACL. But Nico, on that play, he drew the Chargers off sides. He had a free play. He knew he had a free play, and his thought was, I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to take a shot downfield. So I understand that you say conservative. You led 10-0. You led 13-3. You led 21-10. Like what is it that you want the Giants to do? Start being up and just taking massive shots downfield when you get the lead? It doesn't make sense. I mean, if you're down by 4 and there's 2 minutes to go and you're dinking and dunking underneath, yeah, that makes sense. But what you're saying at this moment doesn't make sense. And he's not Daniel Jones. He's not. And you have to get out of that mindset that people are going to, wow, Daniel Jones he's not Daniel Jones. And I think he's going to be a better quarterback.
I think
Daniel
more
Jones.
of the focus on that has to do with the fact of like the designed run plays, the designed QB draws, or, whatever the options that where they're forcing him to run. And Daboll does a lot of it, especially with that was Josh Allen, but with Daniel Jones, where
see, Josh Allen is a perfect person.
Yeah.
Because Josh Allen is a behemoth. Like Josh Allen's got to be 6'5", 245 pounds, and he takes a lot of punishment. But at least with Josh Allen, you think to yourself, all right, he's so big that he can absorb some punishment. Dart is not that big. Like if you went into a lab and said, I want to create a quarterback out of central casting, you would come out with Josh Allen. I'm sorry, Jackson Dart is just not as big and gifted athletically and strong as Josh Allen. But the truth is, nobody really is. Nobody really is.
No.
You got any more?
Yeah,
questions,
one more.
Comments? By the way, before you ask the next one, which I do love the way you're doing this, is people can get involved.
Absolutely.
They can like us. They can subscribe to this YouTube show.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not one dimensional. It's fully 3D.
Yeah, no,
where you can get involved and we can answer your questions.
We also have a community tab on our page now on YouTube. So if you want, you can, even show your support on our community tab. You can also check out when we post on there on our YouTube. So if you just go to our homepage on YouTube, you could click over to the community tab and get involved that way too.
What does that mean, community tab? Like, talk to me like I'm an idiot. Like, what does a community tab
So basically,
mean?
Our subscribers, if you're a long-lasting subscriber, you could post on our community tab, and we can interact with you, comment on you, have conversations.
At what point can people get themselves on video and ask questions on the live YouTube?
They can do that through that too. Yeah,
through the community tab.
Yeah, they can absolutely.
So the community tab is a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
So you want to be part of the community.
You want to be a part of the obsession.
Yeah,
that's what you want to be.
Yeah, you want to be part of the obsession.
A lot of people.
What else do you have?
A lot of people want to be a part of it.
Well, it's a growing obsession.
It is.
It's like a fungus. Yeah.
The Moloko Velocit.
What the hell does that mean?
No idea.
Can you, Steve, do me a favor? Google what Moloko means. The Moloko, unless that's just a guy's name. Can you imagine he's like, hey, how you doing? Like, good, I'm Dave. Good, I'm Moloko. Like, maybe it's just his name, right? So he says, Dave, what's the game plan for a Giants win against the Saints? Well, I mean, you want to be able to run the ball effectively. You want to be able to shorten the game. You want to be able to limit turnovers, which they were great with, and you want to turn over the opposition. And the thing is, you and this is on turf, right? So you have guys that can get to the quarterback. Let the guys loose. Let them get after Spencer Rattler. Because Spencer Rattler, and again, the Saints were not a disaster yesterday. They scored points against the Bills. They're only of the 4 games, they've only been completely, truly embarrassed in that one against Seattle. But there's some they were right there, game 1 against Arizona, had a shot in the end zone to tie the game, final minute of it. So they're not a disaster. That being said, this is a winnable game. And I'm not telling you the Giants are going to win this game, but it is a winnable game. You have an answer for me?
Yeah, somewhat.
What is Moloko?
So it's a novel of A Clockwork Orange.
Oh.
Moloko is a Russian, like it's Russian for milk.
And I believe he owns a milk place.
A milk distribution center?
Let me see. Milk bar.
He owns a milk bar?
That's what it says in his logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Like you want to like, listen, man, I have had a really tough day. Give me a double shot of milk.
Milk.
Give me a double shot of skim.
So.
Really?
Warm milk. I mean, when was the last time you had warm milk?
Can I be honest with you?
Never.
I don't know that I've ever had warm milk.
Less hot chocolate, but that doesn't count as warm milk.
Do you generally have warm milk?
I mean, I don't genuinely have warm milk, but I feel like I've had it in my youth.
So like
You
when
said
you were
it
a
like
little
you
boy,
yeah, for sure.
You wouldn't feel well, and your mom would come rushing in and be like, "All right, Nico, I have a cup of."
I don't
warm
have
milk
memories
for
of
you?"
it, but don't they like warm up milk for like
That is a
days?
thing that's happened. Like
Yeah.
warm milk is a thing. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but what this is a guy that just hands out warm milk.
Yeah, it might be great.
It might be. It might be
1
really
million
great.
subscribers. We go to Moloko's.
How many?
1 million. We go to Moloko shop because I don't think it's in this country.
I think it's in Russia.
Oh, Moloko is watching internationally.
I believe so. It says Karovo Milk Bar, and I think
Karovo might be like a Slavic place.
a Clockwork Moloko. If you could
Just
drop in the
something
comments,
Russian.
where is your milk?
Because he's a
shop?
fan of this YouTube show that we do.
Yeah, we've seen him before.
Yeah. We have a familiarity with Moloko.
Yes, we do.
So maybe he could respond and let us
Come
know.
to the shop, he says.
Where's the shop?
Yeah, tell us where the shop is.
Moloko, where does the shop? See, this is the thing. If you're in the community, but think about this now. Moloko joins the community. We say, Moloko, we'd love to get to know you a little bit. We do a little split screen. It's me and Moloko. We do 3-4 minutes. Now everyone knows where it'd be great advertising for him,
Yeah,
right?
maybe
People-
he could sponsor the show.
I would love to have the Moloko Velocet portion of the show, right? This Jackson Dart throw was brought to you by Moloko Velocet.
Yeah,
How great would that be?
exactly.
Right. All right. Any other questions, comments we need to get to at the moment?
He hasn't answered with his location. Nothing yet.
Well, when he does.
Yeah,
he'll-
when he
he'll give
does.
that information to me. We'll get back to questions and comments in just a couple of minutes. So, positives and negatives. And I appreciate you guys as always. Before we get to positives and negatives, Apple Podcasts. We're coming real soon on Apple Podcasts. You want to get involved with that. Social media, Instagram, DR Giants Obsession. TikTok, the same, DR Giants Obsession. Twitter, DRNYGO. Spotify, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. On YouTube, like us, subscribe to us, and we will continue to pour out content 4 days a week, which we have been doing. All right.
I
so,
have an update.
Look at you. You're back.
I'm
I
back.
can't get rid of you. All right. What's the update?
So the store is in London,
Mm.
and Moloko also says, in A Clockwork Orange in 1971, the varieties of Moloko available are named after different drugs. Velocity is speed in Latin.
He seems like he's very bright.
Very bright.
So so Moloko Velocet is the name of his milk shop in London.
That we are going to at 1 million
So at
subscribers.
1 million subscribers, you want to go.
We're doing a show.
The 4 of us will travel to London, and maybe we do a live show from the Moloko Velocet.
I love that.
I love that idea as well. 1 million. That's going to take some real work.
Yeah.
But if we get there, oh, what a time we'll have. And I'll tell you what, just to show you how much I believe in this, I will have a full fatted milk. None of this skim, no 2%. I will go whole milk at the Moloko Velocet.
That's awesome. I
All
can't
right?
wait.
Whole milk.
I can't wait.
Warm whole milk. All right. Positives, negatives. What did we see that we liked? What did we see that we in fact didn't like from the Giants yesterday? There's a lot to like. There really is. They got to the quarterback, and again, we talked with Dan about this from The Athletic. They didn't sack him, but they made Justin Herbert highly uncomfortable. And that's a plus for the Giants. Defensively, what do you not like? Deonte Banks makes it very difficult to watch him play football because he doesn't want to tackle. He's not a very good coverage guy. And you think to yourself, well, what does he do well? Well, he doesn't do a lot well. And the only reason it feels like he's playing is because he, in fact, was a first-round pick. So that's my initial kind of view of where we are defensively. Carter's getting better. Dexter Lawrence played well. The Giants forced turnovers is a tremendous positive for them. Banks really struggles. The secondary is not great. I thought it would be better. Javonte Holland, I thought would be better. Debo, I have not been wildly impressed with yet. But to hold the Chargers is a good offense to 18 points and turn them over twice is, I mean, let's not lose sight of that, guys. That's a really impressive job by this Giants defense. So that's kind of the defensive stuff. I can't even say the kicker's name. I haven't mastered that as of yet, but he was effective. And just having an active kicker who's able to kick the ball is also a nice thing. So that was good. I thought their special teams was more than adequate. Gillen is a good punter. He really is. He booted I think a 67-yarder that turned into a turnover, and the Giants kind of flipped the field there. And then offensively, I mean, Dart I thought was really good. Wasn't great. Wasn't like unstoppable, but he played well. And I think you have to be excited about that. On top of that, they ran the ball effectively. And they ran the ball. How many times have you watched the Giants over the last, I don't know, decade or decade plus? And it's, they try to run, they can't run, they give up the run. Even with Saquon, it was like, how many times was it 11 carries for 5 yards and then they kind of abandoned the run? Well, not now. I mean, Scadaboo is going to get the ball. Singletary's going to get the ball. When we get there, Tyrone Tracy's going to get the football. And I look at that as a tremendous positive for this team. I really do. So run the ball effectively. A negative, I mean, no fault of their own. That play and that injury to Malik, and I had friends at the game that were sending me texts, this is really bad. The card is out. It looks terrible. His head is in his hands. And the thing is, it didn't even look that bad. There's times when you watch a guy go down and your first thought is, oh, God, that's it. Season ending. The only reason you had, at least I had the thought this could be really bad, is because his reaction, not because of watching the video of the injury. But your entire offensive game plan now has to adjust because you had a weapon that most other teams just don't have, and you don't have that weapon anymore. That doesn't exist anymore. So how do you figure out how to make Darius Slayton, who's, in my opinion, a very mediocre NFL wide receiver, but how do you make that work? I don't know. How do you make Jalen Hyatt, who's really a massive bust so far in the NFL, how do you make that work? I don't know. All I know is this. You have an athletic quarterback. You want to use as athleticism. And I think you want to find that real sweet spot of you have an athletic quarterback and there's really great things he can do. However, you don't want to put him in peril. You can't allow Jackson Dart to take massive hits. And I know that Dable's job may be dependent upon Jackson Dart, but God forbid something happens to Jackson Dart next week, right? God forbid. And all of a sudden now, the Giants have to go to, I can't even imagine going back to Russell Wilson. You have to go to Jameis Winston for a number of weeks. Well, is that good for the longevity and the potential career here of Brian Dable? I wouldn't think so. I think that puts you in real peril. So you can't have this laissez-faire attitude of, well, he plays the way he plays. No, you can't be running downfield and punching a guy in the helmet because you have that moxie and this. You're the franchise quarterback now, pal. Like someone needs to pull him aside and say, whether it's, pick up an extra 4 yards and take a massive hit or run out of bounds, run out of bounds. We've seen bigger guys than you take massive hits and not come back. Drew Bledsoe was an Adonis of a man. It was like 6'5", 235 pounds. But instead of running out of bounds, he went at Mo Lewis, and the rest is history. Cannot happen. You can't do it. So I love Jackson Dart. I can't wait to watch him play this week against the Saints. You have to be smarter. You have to be. I want to kind of go out of order a little bit here with you guys. My Fixins, Dave's Fixins, we'll get to that in a moment. And then the guys are going to let you know about how we're going to pick the winner for the signed mini helmet. So the Fixins bar, you go to a restaurant, they have the Fixins bar, and you go up and you get your lettuce and your pickles and your coleslaw and all that kind of stuff. Well, we have Dave's Fixins. And if the guys will throw it up there, I can go over Dave's Fixins in just a moment. So here's my Fixins. I don't know why you have these weird faces for me. Why, why did you determine, hey, you know, it'd be great for Dave's Fixins? Let's make him look like something might be wrong with him. Like, why? Why do we do that? I'm uncertain. Anyhow, the Giants need to put up 7s in the red zone. You had the play where they threw to Wan'Dale Robinson. He easily could have caught it. He dropped it. I didn't think it was a great throw. You need to put up 7 points when you get down to the 2-yard line. See, there's this idea that once you get into the 20, you're in the red zone, and you are. But there's a difference between getting to the 18 and getting to the 2. When you get inside the 5, you need to figure out a way to put touchdowns on the board. And so far, they haven't. But it's different now because now you have a quarterback that's able to keep it, and it adds a completely different dimension. So I want to see touchdowns. Secondary, again, I don't know how because Deontay Banks is not very good. Cordell Flott is fine. Drew Phillips, I think, like Dan told us, he's very up and down. I thought he was excellent yesterday. And Paulson Adebo, let's be fair, through 4 weeks is somewhat underwhelming. So I think what makes the secondary better is the front 7. If you can, and you saw yesterday, if you can get real pressure on the opposition quarterback, it changes everything. If guys don't have to cover for as long, guys can jump routes, guys can be more aggressive because they need to get rid of the football. So that's a benefit. And last but not least, a pressure needs to result in sacks, right? You saw they had, I mean, Carter had 9. I think Thibodeau had 6. Banks had, Burns had 5, and they only had 2 sacks. So I'm not saying that you have to have 9 sacks and some outrageous number, but you would like to see the pressure result in sacks. And you didn't have a ton of that, although you had an intentional grounding yesterday, which you could almost say is a quasi sack. You had a couple of turnovers yesterday, which are game changers. So there is a lot of positivity. Today's the first day where I don't sit here and say, all right, when do we get to 1:55 or 2 o'clock? Because I want this thing to end. It's the first time. Last night and today, the first 2 times that I've actually had, you feel alive as a Giants fan. Now, you may feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you on Sunday, but right now, you feel alive. All right. So my picks review. Let's throw up my picks review and let's look at that. I know we still wait on one more game for tonight, right? Because I believe I took Miami minus the 2.5 against the Jets. And I had Tampa plus the 3.5. And that was again with this photo of me being anguished. I don't know why. So we got the Rams and we got good fortune there. We got Tampa and we were right there. That game was a blowout. And Tampa slowly and methodically came back. What's his face? Jalen Hurts didn't complete a pass in the second half. Philadelphia completely shut it down. But they find ways to win. So we wait on having a successful week on Miami minus the 2.5. And hopefully that hits. Guys, Nico, Steve, I'd like to bring you back on before we get to the NFC East standings. How are we going to go about giving away this signed Giants mini helmet? Because I believe we're going to attempt to do this on Wednesday of this week, correct?
Yeah, that's kind of our, aim. That's the goal right now. So basically what we're going to do is go through our subscriber list. And we're going to look at it. We're going to throw it into a randomizer. We're going to randomize the name. The first name that pops out will be given our Giants signed helmet.
Now, here's the thing. And you can be honest with me. If you sign up now, can you still get involved? Or is that solely the first 1,000 will be involved in the Giants mini helmet giveaway?
We are doing the first 1,000 in our giveaway.
Okay. Now, could we do this where from 1,000 to 2,000 is it separate own block? And then someone in that block will get a different gift when we get to 2,000.
I think that for the next giveaway, it should also include the first 1,000 because those people have been so dedicated.
So you wanted
to us.
to include the loyal first 1,000,
absolutely,
but also extend that out to 2,000.
Absolutely,
I think that's fair. So Wednesday we're gonna give this away. Someone. So you have a 1 in 1,000 chance of winning.
Yeah,
I love your odds. I love them. I think those are really, really good odds. All right. So let's continue to move along. NFC East, the standings. I stayed up till after midnight last night to watch a tie. A tie. Eagles win again. They're 4-0. Commanders lose. And this Jaden Daniels injury is something to really keep a very close eye on. The Commanders are 2-2 now after losing down in Atlanta. Cowboys tie. Dak played really well. The Cowboys defense is so bad, it's jarring to watch them play. They allowed 40 points last night, but of course, in a tie, also scored 40 points. They go to 1-2-1. So here, the Cowboys, the Packers, unless they tie each other for standings wise and they're fighting for a wild card spot, you don't have to worry about winning the tiebreaker against the Packers or the Cowboys because they're not going to have the same record as you. And then, of course, the Giants bringing up the rear at 1-3. The only thing I'll say is at least it's not a 0. At least it's not a 0-4. At least you're not 4 games behind Philly. I know they're not going to win a ton of games. I get it. But they beat a team that nobody expected them to beat. And I heard a lot of, well, when West comes East and the offensive line, nobody cares. Nobody cares. The Giants won, and they improved to 1-3. So where are we? Where's an overview of where we are? Giants win. And Dan Duggan from The Athletic joined us, and I said, well, last time the Giants won a game that you're like, oh, I'm excited they won. Because don't give me the Colts game. I was upset they won that game against the Colts last year. That was a terrible win, if that's such a thing. It was week 5 last year against the Seahawks when they went to Seattle and beat them. So week 5, this was week 4. Let's do the math here. It's been almost 1 full year since the Giants have won a football game that you are excited about. That's the dregs of what this has become. The Nabers injury is rough. It hurts, and you'll have to find a way to make other guys competent and capable. That being said, you're excited about what you saw from the quarterback. You're excited about what you saw from the running back. You're excited about what you saw from the front 4. And to go back to it, to start out and be redundant, you're excited about what you saw from the quarterback. We'll be back Wednesday. We'll do this all over again. Another fresh 1-hour show and the mini helmet giveaway. Like us, subscribe to us. It's right there in front of you. It's easy to do. We're on the quest for 1 million. We're going to be happy when we get to 2,000 and then 5,000 and then 100,000 and then 500,000. Of all the things, of all the benchmarks that we've set, the 5,000 to get a professional slap fighter to slap Nico in the face, that to me is the one I can't wait for. We will be back Wednesday, 1 o'clock Eastern, right here on YouTube. Follow us, Instagram, follow us, TikTok, follow us, Twitter, DRNYGO, coming to Apple Podcasts as well. Enjoy the first couple days of your week. The Giants won. This has been Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. So if you like that live stream, check out this video or the other live streams. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.